would have thought that after one trip to the capital for official duties, 10 years of effort would be snatched away by the imperial family. At the banquet, the emperor's most favored third princess stood up gracefully and bowed. "Your daughter humbly requests Father Emperor to grant a marriage." Hearing this, I curiously raised my head, hurriedly swallowing the food in my mouth, eager to hear which young man she had chosen. Who knew her red lips would part and utter that name? I have taken a liking to Chu Minglang. Before the emperor could speak, I shot to my feet. "No, my name is Su Wei, the only daughter of General Su Wenyuan of the northern frontier. My mother passed away early, so I became the apple of my father's eye. It's no exaggeration to say he doted on me to the bone. The moment I was born, he made a vow. My daughter's husband must be cultivated from childhood. To choose a worthy husband for me, he adopted over a dozen orphans, personally trained them in martial arts, and required that the chosen one be willing to stay by my side in the north. After a year of careful observation, he selected Chu Minglang, a handsome boy a few years older than me. To deepen our bond, when I had just turned 1, my father betrothed us. From then on, Chu Minglang took on the role of my future husband. The first thing he did in that role was hold my hand and teach me to walk. Because he had always been there from the beginning, in my mind he was like my father, a necessary part of life. We grew up in the northern frontier, open and straightforward. I often declared in front of my father, "When I come of age, I'll marry Minglangij." My father would laugh loudly. "Yes, but you must grow up first." Minglangij would smile beside him. I prayed in my heart for the three of us to stay together forever. But before I could grow up, everything changed. The emperor summoned my father back to the capital. He brought both me and Chu Minglang. Before the banquet, while my father met the emperor, Minglang and I wandered nearby. We saw a girl flying a kite, a beautiful butterfly soaring into the sky. I was mesmerized. Suddenly, the string snapped, and the kite got stuck in a tall tree. Seeing the girl anxiously stamping her feet, I couldn't bear it. "Minglangij, help it, please." He quickly climbed the tree, retrieved the kite, and handed it to me, never even glancing at the girl. But she noticed him. She smiled faintly. "I am the third princess, most beloved by Father Emperor. We'll meet again shortly." At the banquet, Minglang and I sat together. I gestured for him to eat more. He smiled, patted my head, and put food on my plate. It was a perfectly fine meal, but the third princess suddenly stirred things up. I cried and said, "Princess, I helped you retrieve your kite. How can you turn around and snatch my husband?" The third princess hurriedly shook her head at the emperor, looking innocent as she explained, "Father Emperor, it's not like that. It was young Master Chu who helped me." I cried as I explained that he only went because he listened to me. Thus, the joyful banquet became awkward, turning into a scene of me and the third princess competing over one man. "Chu Gongzi, what do you think?" the empress asked with a smile. In her eyes, it was clear that the third princess and Chu Minglang were better matched. Chu Minglang answered politely, "I was betrothed to Miss Su since childhood." After saying only that one sentence, he said nothing more, which made me extremely anxious. In my heart, I shouted, "Minglangij, say more. Say that you will marry no one but me." But Chu Minglang just stood there, not saying another word. The empress nodded, thinking that Chu Minglang's heart was not with me. The emperor received the signal and said to my father, "General Su, my daughter has taken a liking to your son-in-law. Could you bear to part with him?" I was just about to say no again, but my father pressed down on my hand, stopping me. He said, "Minglang is both my son-in-law and like a son to me. Wei is still young and does not understand matters between men and women. It is Minglang's fortune to be favored by the third princess." What? I looked at my father in disbelief, but he lowered his head and avoided my gaze. I started crying too. Unlike the third princess's restrained tears, I wailed loudly. The empress, unable to bear it, comforted me. "Wei, your Minglangij will always be your brother. He will protect you as a sister." Although I was young, I was not easy to fool. I immediately asked, "If Minglangij becomes my brother, then who will be my husband?" The empress looked a bit embarrassed and glanced around before suddenly saying, "How about I ask the emperor to grant you the sixth prince as your husband?" At those words, the chubby boy beside her put down the dumpling he had been focused on eating and looked at her in shock. "Mother," the emperor was very pleased. Laughter. "Excellent. The sixth prince is the same age as you. That would be a suitable match." I pouted and was about to object. The sixth prince was short and fat. How could he compare to the handsome and elegant Minglangij? But my father squeezed my hand, not allowing me to speak further, and forcibly pulled me to kneel and kowtow and thanks. My father only went to the capital to report for duty, and in the time it took me to tag along, the imperial family had swapped out my future husband. Thinking of this, I couldn't help but cry and complain. The sixth prince isn't suitable. Not only is he fat, he's also a prince. Can he come back to the northern frontier with us? But my father wouldn't let me speak further. Not long after Chu Minglang was betrothed to the third princess, he moved into her residence. This was arranged by the empress, saying it would allow the two to cultivate their feelings before marriage. My father only frowned slightly before agreeing. Before leaving, he instructed Chu Minglang, "You grew up in the northern frontier, rough around the edges. The princess is a delicate, noble lady. You must treat her with care." After Chu Minglang knelt and thanked my father, I felt reluctant to part with him and followed him step by step. "Minglangij, don't go, okay? Let's go back to the northern frontier together." His expression was calm. He patted my head and said, "Grow up well, little Wei." Seeing that he truly treated me differently from the third princess, I suddenly wanted to cry. The empress was right. Chu Minglang treated me well, but only as a younger sister. After he left, I found no joy in anything and urged my father, "Let's go back quickly. I don't want the sixth prince. There are still other boys in the northern frontier. Just pick another one for me. Once we choose one, we'll never come to the capital again. The three of us can stay in the northern frontier forever." But my father said, "No." The sixth prince was granted by the emperor. Who would dare refuse? Besides, the Empress has sent word that we should stay longer. She will frequently send the 6th prince over so you can get to know each other. When I heard the 6th prince would come, I thought of his chubby appearance and missed Minglangage even more. Whether I liked it or not, the little chubby prince still came. He wasn't shy at all. As soon as he saw me, he warmly called out, "Way Mimi." Looking at him up close, I really wanted to cry. Why was his face so round, so plump? The Empress was too much. She took away my handsome Minglangage and replaced him with this chubby boy. I wanted to return him and get Minglangage back. My heart churned with grievance and anger, and my expression turned unpleasant. Seeing this, his eyes dimmed slightly, but he still said, "Where do you want to go? I can take you." I didn't want to talk to him. "I don't know anyone here. I don't want to go anywhere. You can leave." But he didn't give up. Then, "Do you want to visit the 3rd princess's residence? I have a token." Okay, he knew exactly how to tempt me. I really wanted to see Minglangage. Since he gave me what I wanted, I found him more agreeable and felt less resistant. When he said let's go, I followed him. At the 3rd princess's residence, the 6th prince skipped the announcement. "If we report it, people will follow us. It's inconvenient. I'll take you around." He led me through winding paths. "The 3rd sister likes growing flowers and plants. I'll take you to pick some." I looked at him and thought, girls like pretty flowers, and I was no exception. The thought of picking flowers made me happy. For the first time, I felt he was actually a bit cute. Along the way, we saw all kinds of flowers that didn't exist in the northern frontier. He was very attentive. Whenever I looked at a flower a bit longer, he would pick one for me. By the time we reached a rock garden, I was holding a large bouquet, fragrant and beautiful. Seeing 3 streams of water flowing down the rocks, I was about to cry out in amazement. But the chubby prince suddenly pulled me behind the rocks and covered my mouth, signaling me to stay quiet. Someone was approaching. Through the gaps in the rocks, we looked outside. It was the 3rd princess, and Chu Minglang, the 6th prince, covered my mouth. "Did I just hear someone calling Minglangage?" the 3rd princess said. "You must have misheard. In your residence, aside from you, no one would call me that," Chu Minglang replied. "That's true." As soon as she finished speaking, he pulled her into his arms and held her tightly. The 3rd princess let out a soft sound. I froze. The chubby prince beside me also stiffened. The next moment, Chu Minglang lowered his head and pressed his mouth against hers. He even stuck out his tongue, long and frightening, and yet the 3rd princess actually opened her mouth to let him in. The two of them were like entwined creatures. The 6th prince and I were both stunned. I didn't dare breathe. Neither did he. After what felt like forever, when we were almost suffocating, Chu Minglang finally released her and left with his arm around her. Only after they were gone did we crawl out from behind the rocks. We looked at each other, both completely dazed. Neither of us spoke. We silently lowered our heads and walked toward the gate. After returning to the residence, the 6th prince greeted my father and left. I told my father everything we had seen. "Father, my head hurts." He sighed. "It's my fault for not teaching you. When you see something like that, you should close your eyes. That's not for children to watch." "I don't understand," I said. But he continued, speaking to himself. "Sigh, I shouldn't have chosen someone so much older than you. He's already at the age of seeking love, while you're still so young." Then he muttered again, "It's not his fault. Asking him to wait for you was too hard." I didn't understand what he meant. The next day, the chubby prince came again. We were temporarily staying in a residence arranged by the emperor. There was a fish pond, and we sat by it. I held 2 steamed buns and handed him one. I tore pieces to feed the fish, and he followed my lead. We stayed silent until the buns were gone. Finally, he spoke hesitantly. "My 3rd sister and her consort, they're adults. They're about to get married, so they can do that." Then he added, "When 2 people who are going to marry behave like that, it means they get along well. It's a good thing." The empress had clearly explained more to him than my father had to me. "So when people grow up and get married, they have to do that?" I asked. I thought it looked disgusting. Even if I married him in the future, I definitely wouldn't do something like that. He said weakly, "I don't know either." We both fell silent again. We were just children. We couldn't process something like that. But at that moment, I seemed to understand Minglangage a little. My father said the 6th prince was about as tall as 3 blocks of tofu stacked together, and I was only slightly taller than that. We weren't adults. Minglangage treated me well, but he had never treated me the way he treated the 3rd princess. So that's why he could like her so quickly, because she was an adult like him. But what made someone an adult? What's the difference between adults and children? For example, me and the 3rd princess? I asked the chubby prince. He thought for a moment, then said, "Chest. My 3rd sister's chest sticks out, just like mother's. Yours is flat, like mine." He puffed out his chest to demonstrate. "Oh, I see. Now I understood. No wonder Minglangage always patted my head. That's how you treat a child." But with the 3rd princess, he held her tightly. That's how you treat an adult. The empress's judgment was right. Minglangage was my brother, not my husband. Thinking this way, I suddenly didn't feel so sad anymore. A brother marrying a sister-in-law is a good thing. In the northern frontier, when a brother marries, the sister-in-law gives the younger sister a red envelope. Thinking of that, I couldn't help but smile. The 6th prince looked surprised. "You smiled. You're so pretty when you smile, like a flower blooming. Even prettier than my 3rd sister, prettier than my mother." He was so good at flattering people. He even said I was prettier than his own mother. It made me embarrassed. To hide my happiness, I said, "The buns are gone." He replied, "Then let's stop feeding the fish. I'll take you to try snacks in the capital." At the mention of food, I didn't think much and followed him. We ate happily along the way. The chubby prince was actually quite nice. Time passed quickly. From that day on, the chubby prince came to see me every day, taking me around to play. In just 3 months, he had taken me through all the streets and alleys of the capital. One day, when he couldn't think of anywhere new to go, he asked me, "Do you want to come to the palace with me? My mother makes very delicious pastries." At the mention of food, I didn't think much and went with him. I had lost my mother at a young age. My father arranged for an elderly nanny to take care of me, but her hands were rough with calluses, and my father himself was rather coarse. With the Empress, I experienced for the first time the softness and warmth of a mother. She was gentle and attentive. Soon, I found myself drawn to her, unconsciously staying close by her side. One day, she asked me softly, "Wei, the sixth prince likes you. Do you like him?" I didn't dare answer immediately. I truly didn't know what liking meant. I thought I had liked Minglang Gage before. He often made me happy. But the sixth prince took me out to eat, and I was also very happy. After thinking for a long time, I said, if the sixth prince were a bit taller, then I would like him. In the northern frontier, girls prefer men who are taller than themselves. The Empress laughed and said to her son, "Did you hear that? You need to grow taller quickly." The sixth prince scratched his head shyly and said, "I'll go find Imperial Physician Gao later and ask him to help adjust things." The Empress laughed again. "Yes, you should. Imperial Physician Gao is the tallest in the palace. People say when someone grows taller, they also look slimmer. Once you slim down, you'll be the most handsome prince in the palace." I asked curiously, "Your Majesty, will the sixth prince really look good if he loses weight?" Looking at his round cheeks, I found it hard to imagine. The Empress laughed even harder. Then she asked me, "Wei, do you think I'm pretty?" I looked at her carefully. She was truly beautiful. I nodded, unable to take my eyes off her face. She said, "I only gave birth to 2 children. The third princess resembles the emperor. The sixth prince resembles me." Seeing my doubtful expression, she paused and added, "He used to look very much like me before he got chubby." I still didn't quite believe it. The Empress glanced at the sixth prince, clearly realizing she couldn't prove her point, so she changed the subject and asked him to take me to the koi pond. I loved feeding fish, so I immediately brightened up. The sixth prince went to the imperial kitchen and got a large bag of steamed buns. We went to the pond. At home, we only had one kind of carp. My father believed in practicality, so even the fish he bought could be eaten, though I had grown attached to them and refused to let him cook them. But here, the palace kept koi, yellow, red, black, and all kinds of mixed colors. They could be eaten too, but they were mainly for viewing. When I tossed in a handful of crumbs, the koi gathered to compete, their colorful bodies swishing through the water. It was breathtaking. I was so excited I waved my hands around. Look, that one with the gray head and golden body, it eats the fastest. And that one, the red one, so vibrant. I'll throw some more over there." Just as I was enjoying myself, a voice suddenly sounded from across the pond. Well, isn't this the daughter of General Su? Your handsome fiancé was taken by the third princess, and now you've been given to the not-so-good-looking sixth prince. I'm actually quite pleased to see it." A group of people approached. At the front was a boy, older than us, but younger than Chu Minglang. "Who's that?" I whispered. The sixth prince glanced at him, his expression darkening as he lowered his head. "Second brother." So this was the second prince. My father had warned me before. Most of the emperor's children were fine. If I met them, I could greet them politely or leave if I didn't want to interact. But if I encountered the second prince, I had to be extremely cautious. Personally, I preferred using my fists, but I didn't dare tell my father that. Now, facing the second prince's mocking gaze, a surge of anger rose within me. I grabbed the sixth prince and said in a low voice, "I'm going to beat your second brother up. He's a prince, and I'm a general's daughter. If I hit him, I'll probably be punished. Will you back me up?" The sixth prince froze. Seeing that I was serious, he began to sweat. After a long moment, he finally made up his mind. "Go ahead and hit him. If he insults me, that's one thing, but you are General Su's daughter. That's unacceptable. I'll back you up. If I can't handle it, my mother will." "Alright." I grinned. I set down the buns, stood up, and loosened my wrists and ankles. Before the second prince could even understand what I was about to do, I launched at him like a storm. Before the second prince could react, I had already unleashed a flurry of blows. I used my best technique, the jade hand fist. In the blink of an eye, he was beaten until his face was bruised and swollen. When he finally came to his senses and tried to fight back, the sixth prince, who had been standing there stunned, suddenly rushed forward and shoved him hard in the lower back. The second prince lost his balance and staggered toward the pond. At that exact moment, I reached my final move, spinning and delivering a powerful chain kick, and sent him straight into the water. The entire sequence took only a few minutes. Everyone present stood frozen in shock. By the time they snapped out of it and started shouting to save the second prince. The sixth prince had already grabbed my hand and dragged me away at full speed. He ran much faster than I expected. As we ran, I said, "Thank you." I hadn't expected the chubby prince to be so loyal. Hearing my thanks, he pulled me along even faster. We ran, panting, all the way back to the Empress. Before we could even catch our breath, we hurriedly told her everything that had happened. I thought she would scold me for causing such trouble and dragging the sixth prince into it. But instead, the Empress burst into loud laughter. "Wei, yes? Excellent. Well done, Su Wei. You are exactly the daughter-in-law I want. Your Majesty, I don't think I can be your daughter-in-law. I'm supposed to stay with my father." The Empress paused, then laughed. "Oh, you want to bring your father along when you marry? That's no problem." I suspected she didn't quite understand what I meant. I looked at the sixth prince. He was staring at me with pure admiration. Fine, I thought. These two must have been suppressed by palace rules for too long, finally getting a chance to vent. That night, we stayed in the Empress's palace. I expected a huge commotion. Surely the consort, second prince's mother, wouldn't let this go. But by the next morning, nothing happened. The Empress told us what had occurred. The consort had gone to the Emperor overnight, exaggerating the incident and demanding punishment for me and the sixth prince. But the Emperor, who usually favored her, became furious. He pointed at her and scolded. "Your son has bullied the sixth countless times. Do you think I don't know? Now he dares to bully the sixth's fiancée? That is General Su's precious daughter. If you continue twisting the truth and indulging him, I will depose you. Get out. The consort had never seen the emperor like this. Terrified, she fled back to her palace. The second prince, upon hearing this, immediately lost his arrogance. The emperor might favor her, but not without limits. Because of this, the empress was so delighted she barely slept all night. The next morning, she personally made 6 kinds of pastries for us as a reward. I was surprised. Your Majesty, didn't you say the 6th prince needs to lose weight? She waved it off. It doesn't matter for one meal. You two performed so well yesterday, you must be rewarded. Alright then, who would have thought that the dignified and graceful empress had such a side? She then said to her son, my child, this future wife of yours can stabilize the world. I need to adjust how I raise you. I was busy eating buns and didn't understand. Your Majesty, what are you adjusting? She just smiled and handed me a piece of purple sweet potato cake. I immediately buried my head in eating again. When my father heard about what I had done, he said, we need to leave quickly. The empress said we don't need to be afraid, I replied. He sighed. The consort is the prime minister's daughter. That old fox is cunning. Even if they don't dare act openly, they'll use underhanded methods. It's impossible to guard against. It was the first time I had seen my father like this. I asked, Father, you're a great general. Are you afraid too? He sighed again. We are strong dragons, but we cannot defeat local snakes. Just then, news came from the northern frontier. Barbarians had been making incursions. My father reported to the emperor, received approval, and we set off to return home. Before leaving, the 6th prince was very reluctant to part. He said to me, in 5 years, I will come to the northern frontier to find you, and marry you. I nodded. I calmly accepted that he would likely be my future husband. I no longer disliked how chubby he was, but I didn't take his words too seriously. After all, I had heard promises like that before, and the one who said them had met someone else and married her without even trying to resist. The 6th prince was a prince. He would meet even more people in the future. After returning to the northern frontier, I ran freely across the vast land, and all the gloom I had felt in the capital quickly disappeared. When it became known that Chu Minglang had become the princess's consort, the boys my father had raised were overjoyed. They all thought they now had a chance to be chosen again as my husband. But my father said, no more choosing this time. We'll let things take their course. Whoever has the ability to win Wei's heart will be the son-in-law. That statement gave everyone a chance. The boys surrounded me constantly. I found it exhausting. But later, I realized that spending more time with boys wasn't a bad thing. It helped me understand what men were like. I took the opportunity to get them to talk and learned a lot from them. 5 years passed. The dozen or so boys had all become my close friends. During that time, when they learned that I had been verbally promised to the 6th prince by the emperor, although it wasn't certain, they all withdrew their intentions and treated me wholeheartedly as a younger sister. From them, I learned many things, especially in the past 2 years, as the older ones began to marry. Watching how they treated their wives, I completely understood Chu Minglang's earlier feelings and regrets. Not even a trace of confusion remained. When you were not yet born, I was already grown. When you were born, I was already past youth. Now that I had grown up, I finally understood what my father meant when he said waiting for me would have been too hard for Chu Minglang. He had physical needs. It truly would have been difficult. And his feelings for me were never romantic. If I put myself in his place, taking care of a small child out of responsibility, I could do that. If the child were obedient and lovable, I would like them. But romantic attraction? That would never exist. Romantic love requires a mature body. Soon, my father was to return to the capital again. The emperor, considering his age, allowed him to report only once every 5 years. This time, he brought me along again. I don't want to go, I said. The 6th prince said he would come find me, but my father said, it was the empress who sent word, you must come. Fine. Whether I came or went, it was always decided by the imperial family. On the journey, I became unusually quiet. Last time we went to the capital, we lost someone. This time, if nothing unexpected happened, I would marry the 6th prince. For my father, it meant losing someone again. When he returned alone, how lonely would he be? From the moment I was born, he had hoped to recruit a son-in-law so that I could stay by his side forever. But fate had other plans. The husband he raised became a royal consort, and his daughter would become a prince's wife. People cannot fight destiny. Sigh. Who knows what will happen this time in the capital? My father sighed. It was clear he was thinking the same thing as I was. The capital had never been a place of lasting peace, but we never expected. This time, the unrest would be so overwhelming. Before we even arrived, a scout rushed in with urgent news. The already dark-minded second prince had grown even more twisted over the past 5 years. He had found a beautiful woman skilled in martial arts and secretly sent her into the crown prince's residence as a concubine. The crown prince was caught off guard. His leg was broken, so badly that he would limp even while walking in public. Afterward, the woman disappeared. The emperor was furious. Everyone knew it was the second prince, but no evidence could be found linking him. The crown prince could no longer remain heir, but the emperor did not choose the second prince either. He said, there are only 2 rules for choosing an heir, either the eldest or the legitimate. If the eldest won't do, then the legitimate one will. And just like that, the 6th prince became the new crown prince. The second prince lost all hope. He went mad with rage and went to confront the emperor. The emperor, enraged, placed him under house arrest. My father said, even so, it's only confinement. The emperor still feels guilty toward him. Why? I asked. I didn't think the emperor had anything to feel guilty about. The empire was his. He could give it to whoever he wanted. My father didn't want to explain, but seeing my naive defense of the emperor, he said, you must never assume the emperor is good. That leads to fatal misjudgments. Then he revealed a secret of the imperial family. The consort, second prince's mother, should have given birth earlier than the other consort, but the emperor used methods to make the other woman give birth first. That woman became the mother mother of the first prince, the original crown prince. I was shocked. Childbirth is like walking through the gates of death, and yet the emperor manipulated it. He didn't treat women's lives as lives at all. The founding emperor had set a rule. The heir must be either the eldest or the legitimate son. If both existed, choose the eldest. The consort's family was too powerful, so the emperor feared them. Not only did he deny her the position of empress, he also deprived her son of being the eldest. So ruthless. Now I finally understood why the second prince was so twisted. If it were me, I would feel unbalanced too. But that was someone else's story. What concerned me more was my own future. The sixth prince is now the crown prince. A crown princess is different from a prince's wife. It concerns the fate of the nation. My father spoke carefully. With my rank and achievements, you are qualified. But, from a broader perspective, you may not necessarily be chosen. Then he added, being crown princess isn't so great anyway. You'd have to share your husband with countless women. At most, you'd get 2 days a month. It's fine, I said with a smile. If I couldn't be chosen, then so be it. After all, being rejected once or twice, I was already used to it. At 15, I was no longer the confused child I once was. I understood men now. If one partner doesn't work, just find another. Simple as that. My father didn't think as lightly as I did. He was worried I was just putting on a brave face, that if I were truly rejected, I would still end up crying. So he insisted on leaving me at an inn outside the capital, with several capable guards, while he entered the city alone to report for duty. He said he would leave in the morning and return by evening, but when night fell, he still hadn't returned, nor had any message come back. I began to feel uneasy. At that moment, a guard reported, the left censor-in-chief requests an audience. The left censor-in-chief? I had never heard my father mention him. A thought crossed my mind. Had something happened to my father? I hurried out to meet him, and found it was an old acquaintance, Chu Minglang. Dressed in official robes, he stood tall and imposing in the inn's main hall. The entire hall had been cleared, only he remained. I froze. When he saw me, he first looked me up and down, then his eyes filled with amazement. He quickly walked toward me, reaching out to grab my hand. I dodged, thinking I was just being shy. He didn't mind my avoidance. Smiling broadly, he said, Wei, long time no see. I stepped back slightly. For some reason, after all these years, I felt no joy, only a hint of annoyance. Why are you here? Did something happen to my father? I didn't want to exchange pleasantries. I asked directly. He said no. He said he had come to see me. Ignoring my coldness, he spoke eagerly, as if finally finding someone to confide in, telling me about the past 5 years, his marriage, the birth of a child, his wife's illness, his promotion. Your wife is seriously ill? I interrupted. He looked awkward. It's not exactly a serious illness, just a severe infection after childbirth. It left lasting effects. It doesn't affect daily life, but she can no longer engage in marital relations. What? I was shocked. There was such a condition? Who would dare give birth then? Wouldn't that mean being abandoned by one's husband afterward? He continued. I stayed by her side for 4 years, never leaving her, caring for her attentively. She was deeply moved. This year, she personally requested permission from the emperor and empress. The emperor allowed me to enter official service, and the empress permitted me to take another wife. What? So he had endured for 4 years waiting for this. My father had said waiting would be too hard, but here was proof otherwise. But something else caught my attention. Another wife? The empress allowed that? She's the third princess's mother. How could she bear to let her daughter become a concubine? He grew embarrassed, his face reddening. The third princess will always be the principal wife. Oh, so you mean taking a concubine? That made sense. As long as it didn't threaten the princess's status, it would be acceptable. Looking across the capital, he could choose from the daughters of officials, even those of lower rank. Congratulations, Minglang Gij, I said. You've married a princess, gained official rank, and now can enjoy multiple wives. You've really profited. By the way, did you and the third princess have a son or a daughter? At the mention of the princess's illness, I felt only a faint trace of pity. If anything, a thought flashed through my mind. Stealing someone else's man, perhaps this is retribution. But toward Chu Minglang, I was genuinely happy for him. From what I had learned from the boys in the northern frontier, men, if conditions allowed, generally desired both a virtuous wife and beautiful concubines. I had once argued against that, using my father as an example, but they said my father was an exception because he had found true love. And marrying a princess was also an exception. So Chu Minglang, who couldn't wait before, had endured 4 years, and only took a concubine with his wife's consent. Among men, that wasn't considered bad, since he wasn't bad, and had once cared for me. I was happy for him, but he just looked at me, not answering my question. I felt something was off. Minglang Gij, why did you come to see me? Did you want me to help you find someone from the northern frontier? But our girls probably wouldn't want to come. The capital has too many rules. He hesitated before finally speaking. Wei, I remember when I was betrothed to the princess, you cried for a long time. Thinking back, I felt a bit embarrassed. Yes, I was young. I thought a brother should belong to me, and couldn't accept him having a wife. He pressed on. Wei, are your feelings toward me really just that of a sister? Only then did I realize something was wrong. What do you mean? Are you here to ask me to become your concubine? The thought alone filled me with humiliation. I clenched my fists. No, it couldn't be that disgusting. I had treated him like a brother, and he wanted me to become his concubine, even though we once had a betrothal. Even though I had grown up now, did he forget who I was? I was the only daughter of General Su, and I was also verbally promised to the sixth prince, now the crown prince. I must be overthinking this. But under my incredulous gaze, his eyes began to flicker. He spoke haltingly. It would only be a concubine in name, but in my heart, Wei, I would treat you as my wife. I would stay with you, care for you, and have children with you. Wei, for the sake of our past, will you continue our bond? I felt sick. I couldn't even find the right words to curse him. I began loosening my ankles. muscles. Before I could even move my wrists, a figure rushed in like the wind and punched Chu Mingling to the ground. Another figure followed and kicked him hard while he was down. I looked closely. The first was a handsome man. The second was my father. Chu Mingling saw who had come, and his eyes darkened. He struggled to his feet. Before he could even bow, both of the men who had struck him said in unison, "Get lost." Then the two of them walked toward me. The royal family is often deceptive, but the empress had spoken the truth. After losing weight and growing taller, the sixth prince, now the crown prince, was stunning beyond compare. He truly resembled the empress, even surpassing her, with a heroic and striking presence. When he learned I had arrived, he immediately came with my father to the inn. I stared at him, his nose, his brows, his eyes, his face. I tried to find traces of the chubby boy from before, but there were none. He said, 5 years ago, I wanted to hit second brother, but didn't dare. Today, I finally did. He smiled at me. Wei, we finally meet again. I bowed. Greetings, Your Highness the Crown Prince. He helped me up. You don't need to bow to me. Then he naturally took my hand. I tried to pull away, but couldn't. My father stood to the side, his mouth twitching. But the way he looked at the Crown Prince was exactly like a father-in-law looking at a son-in-law. He approved of. Chu Mingling, embarrassed, retreated far away. After bowing to my father, he left. Watching his departing figure, my father sighed. He overestimated himself, and overestimated your feelings for him. His impulsiveness had brought humiliation to me, and disgrace to himself. I watched him go. After all, he was someone from the past. The Crown Prince turned my head back toward him and said, a little jealously, "You are my Crown Princess. You're not allowed to look at other men." What? I immediately turned to look at him. I am your what? He smiled, a bright, radiant smile. You are my Crown Princess, my wife. I nearly collapsed on the spot. My father beamed and nodded. Daughter, the Emperor and Empress have decided. You are the Crown Princess. I was the Crown Princess. The Empress arranged for me to enter the Eastern Palace early, with the same reason as before, to cultivate feelings before marriage. There was also a pond in the Eastern Palace, filled with koi, just like before. The Crown Prince sat by the pond, tossing pieces of steamed bun into the water. For all these years, my favorite thing has been feeding koi with buns. I walked over and sat beside him, taking a bun from his side and tearing it apart. Didn't you say you didn't want to be Crown Prince? Back then, after I beat the second prince, I had asked him whether he wanted to become Crown Prince. He said he didn't, but now, he was. I felt a bit wronged, as if I had been tricked. At most, I could be the sixth prince's consort. I'm not suited to be Crown Princess. Hearing the grievance in my voice, he smiled and pulled me into his arms. Don't be upset. I agreed to become Crown Prince, for you, he explained. When he was younger, he had once gone to find the second prince and saw the consort in a frenzy, pushing and scolding her son, cursing the emperor for being ungrateful, for promising her the position of empress, then giving it to someone else, for promising her son the position of crown prince, then scheming it away. Back then, the second prince had knelt silently, saying nothing, until he swore he would fight for the throne. The crown prince's eyes reddened. Second brother used to be a cheerful child. After he began fighting for the throne, he became bitter. At the time, I thought my mother had taken his mother's position, so I let him bully me as compensation. But later, I grew angry and asked my mother why she had done such a thing. My mother told me she never wanted to be empress, nor marry father emperor. Everything was forced by him. She also told me, if I was truly angry, then I should fight for power. Otherwise, I wouldn't be able to protect anything. He held my hand. Wei, my mother was right. Only by climbing higher can I protect you, my third sister, and my mother. I thought about it. He was right. The second prince didn't dare provoke the crown prince, but he dared to bully the sixth prince. It all came down to status. Power mattered. No matter who became emperor, we would be in danger. So, you wanted to protect me, but that doesn't mean I have to become your crown princess, right? You don't want to be with me? He asked, blinking his long lashes at me. My heart skipped. He was too good looking. I lowered my head and admitted, I do, but you'll have many consorts, and I'll have to manage them. I'm afraid I'll get angry and won't be able to handle it. He laughed, pulling me closer. No, my father takes women into the palace for balance and heirs. I don't need that. If someone else is more suitable to be emperor, I'll give up the throne. If my children are unsuitable, we'll choose from the clan. I don't want possession. I only want to protect. I hugged his arm and started crying. No, you mustn't give it to others. You will be the best crown prince, the best emperor, the best father. You must work hard. Don't yield. He laughed softly. All right, we married at 17. The wedding was delayed 2 years, from the empress's original plan, because of me. Even though I liked how handsome he had become, whenever he got too close, I felt uneasy. The memory of what I had seen between Chu Mingling and the third princess had left a shadow in my heart. I was afraid of him getting close, afraid of that kind of intimacy, but he never forced me. He stayed by my side, neither too close nor too distant, until one day, I discovered that the entire garden of the Eastern Palace was filled with the flowers I had once picked. Every single one was in bloom. In that moment, my heart was overwhelmed with joy. When I looked at him again, he seemed like a god. He seized the moment, stepped closer, and before I could react, he gently pressed his lips against mine. Soft, brief, gone in an instant. I was stunned, but what surprised me even more was that I didn't feel disgusted at all. It was soft, warm, like a current passing through me, so I grabbed him in return, and imitated him, brushing my lips against his. Not disgusting, soft, electric. Seeing his shocked expression, I burst into laughter. I was normal again. His eyes curved into a smile like a blooming flower. Wei, let's get married soon. For years later, I gave birth to a daughter. Her bright, lively eyes were just like mine when I was young. We all adored her. The one who loved her most was my father. He held her constantly, unwilling to let go. He never returned to the northern northern frontier again, choosing to stay in the capital. The emperor granted him the highest civilian position in the military. The empress had requested it, saying, "The crown princess must not be without family by her side." My father was happy. He was getting older and couldn't bear to be far from me, though he had his own residence in the capital. He visited the Eastern Palace twice every day, just to see his granddaughter and me. After giving birth, my recovery was smooth. My relationship with the crown prince grew even closer. My father sighed. "Fortunately, you didn't suffer the same illness as the third princess." Speaking of Chu Mingling and the past, he said, "When you were born, I feared you would marry far away. I tried to raise a husband for you so you could stay by my side in the northern frontier, but in the end, I was the one who traveled far to join you." "Daughter, there's no difference," I said with a smile. "As long as we're together, it doesn't matter where we are." He nodded. "That's true. Whether in the capital or the northern frontier, where my daughter is, that is home." By daughter, he meant both me and my daughter. Seeing us so affectionate, the crown prince couldn't resist joining in. Without asking, he wrapped one arm around me and the other around my father. "Where there is a daughter, I will guard that home." Being hugged by a grown man, my father's mouth twitched again, and my daughter, grinning widely, looked toward her grandfather and her father, and spoke her very first word in life, "Father."